guys and gals, welcome back to another Vinny Built Structures video. This is going to be Mariani Build for Jack Jackson Part 2. But before we get started on that, I need to make an apology, or a couple of apologies actually. First apology is for my long-winded intros. It won't be happening very often, but when I have a lot to say, I say it. Second of all, I want to apologize for not commenting back to the people that have commented on my videos. I have been very, very busy and spent about an hour on the computer watching videos and commenting on you guys' videos. I feel that that's more important for me to comment on your videos versus me commenting back to you guys. They're both important, but I feel that you guys are more important to me than me. I don't know if you guys are really interested in watching my scratch builds on video. I actually do them to encourage people to try doing scratch builds. The one I'm doing for Jack is not that hard. It's just a matter of different types of cuts on the plastic. Also, the office building for this project that I'm doing for Jack, you can watch me build on Rail Talk. There'll be 3 or 4 segments on that. I'm trying to limit the time on these scratch builds, but sometimes it's just impossible. When I get into one part of the build, I need to finish that part. So you guys let me know if you enjoy watching my scratch build videos. I think I'm trying to limit Jack's build to 3 segments, but I don't think that's going to happen because I have a few other details that I'm going to put into Jack's build. I know that he's been making room for this project on his layout, so if you guys haven't watched any Jack's videos, I will put a link and probably put him in my featured channels list. So give him a look-see. He does a lot of live stuff. Anyhow, I think that's about all I'm going to say right now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get on with the video. We'll be right back. Alright guys, now that I've done the mock-up and I'm happy with the way it looks, everything seems to be lining up just right. So the next step is an important step. You guys want to get a nice clean finished build, you need to take this step. To me this is an important step. 220 grit sandpaper, and I run each edge over until I get a nice smooth edge here. I've already done all of these already. I just want to show you how to do it. After you do the edges, it's also going to leave a bit of a ridge right here. So just take a small piece of sandpaper, sand it down till you get a nice smooth edge, and that's going to give you nice clean corners and nice joints when you start putting this build together. Also, by roughing it up, if you guys know that whoever does tile work, you always use a trowel that has teeth on it, and that makes the adhesive grab to the floor and to the tile. Same principle here. if you rough up the edges, it's going to give the gluing a better surface to grab onto. So basically, you'll have a stronger building. Anyhow, the next step for me to do is to draw out the doors that'll be in the main building of this build, and we'll get on to that. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Alright guys, I went ahead and drew out some of the doors that are going to be on the main building here. As you can see right here, I have a people door, and over here I have a 10-foot by 10-foot garage door. Now remember what I said, this is the front of the building, so this is going to be the right side of the structure. So it'll be sitting like that. Next is the left wall. As you can see, I've got a 15 by 15 foot garage door and another people door. You need to remember the orientation of your doors where you want them to be. I don't want this one to be under the canopy where the trucks are, so I had to do it on the opposite side. So when I turn it around, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see the shadow in there, but anyhow, the garage door will be towards the back of the building, and then the people door will be kind of like in the center. Then on the front wall, again, you got to think about the orientation, because I want this door to be on the left side of the structure, so when I turn it around, it will be on the left side of the structure. Anyhow, to cut these out, I'm going to use this nifty little tool that I received as a gift about a year ago from Mr. Erhard. It's a pretty nifty little tool. You just put it in there like that. Let's see if I can get this better on camera. Let me back the camera up a bit so you guys can see this a little bit better. When you press this down, and I don't know if you're going to see it, but it's got a blade on the tip of this guy right here. So when you press it down, it's kind of like a hole punch, except it does squares. Okay, so the next thing is you need to line it up on your line and just commence cutting. And this will take a few minutes, but it's really a tool that's well worth it if you want to save some time cutting out windows and doors. Alright, anyhow, I'll continue this. I'll put this in super mode, and I'll do all the doors and on this structure at this point. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Alright guys, there's the first garage door opening. It leaves a little bit of a rough edge, which no problem, you can just sand that down, square up the corners with your X-Acto knife, and you'll be done. I'm not going to do the rest of these on camera because it did take quite a while to do this one, so I will continue this off camera and I'll bring you back when they're all cut out. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we're back on Jack's build here, the Mariani plant. As you can see, I've got some of the doors and stuff cut out on the side and on that side. I will be using this for the base to mount the structure on. But if you guys remember, and see how observant you guys are before I tell you what the answer is, I made a significant change to this build so far. I was not happy with the proportions that I was looking at with the original mock-up. So what I did was I extended my walls. I extended this wall by about 2 inches and the back wall by about 2 inches. Now I think the proportion looks a lot better. Also, let me get this thing closer here. And turn it around. Of course, none of it's secured yet. But as you can see, I have cut out my door here, which I told you guys was going to be up off the ground a bit. I don't know exactly what this door is. Supposedly, probably just to access whatever's in here. But anyhow, I put the support for the landing that's going to be here, and there'll be like 3 stairs that go up, and there'll be handrails and so on and so forth. Anyhow, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start cutting out the internal supports. If you remember, at the beginning of this build, I told you I was going to be using the number 175 for my supports. Well, I decided to use this number 177 instead because I have a lot more of this stuff than I do of the 175. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start cutting out my pieces, and we'll start securing this together. So stay tuned, and we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, we're back, and as you can see, I've already put in all my supports for the walls to secure them to each other. I also went ahead and put this wall and the side wall together so I can get the exact measurement for this piece, which I did correct right from the get-go. And I also told you that there was going to be a couple of vent windows in this wall here. So what I did was I cut the vent windows out, and I don't know if you guys are going to see this. Maybe if I put something behind it. I used N-scale fencing for the screen for these windows. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start trimming out all the doors and, well, just doors basically. I'm going to install this piece here, get it secured, and then I'll probably do the trim work, and then I'll put the other 2 walls together. I also added, and I'm going to be adding, some gussets in the corners just to make sure that this building stays square. I'm not happy with the evergreen products. They've been coming in kind of warped, and that kind of pisses me off a little bit, that I have to do extra work to make them straight. Anyhow, let me go ahead and do some more work on this, and I'll get back to you in a few minutes. Alright guys, we're going a little further on the front section of this build here, and as you can see, I've got my my little screen windows in there. They're all trimmed out, and they look pretty good to me. N-scale fencing worked rather well. I also did the trim and the staircase and platform, or landing, whatever you want to call it, on this side. And I also have the roof cut out and ready to be mounted. And I also made some garage doors, and I'll show you guys how I made these garage doors. It's really easy, and it makes a nice little detail to add to your structures. So with that being said, stay tuned, and I'll be right back and show you how to make these guys. Be right back. Alright guys, I showed you in the last clip I was going to show you how to make these doors, and this is what it's going to look like when it's on the build. As you can see, that will look pretty nice, and we have to use a little bit of imagination here. I'm putting the roll-up part on the outside of the building just to give the building a little bit more detail, so we have to pretend that the motor that drives these doors up is on the inside of the building, and it's driven by chains or drive belt or whatever. Anyhow, what I used is this Plastruct half round, and I don't know if you guys are going to see this, but it is kind of hollow in here. So in order to cover up the hollow, what I'm going to do, let me back this out a bit and get you down here. I cut it to size, and now I need to block these holes. So what I'm going to do is just a couple pieces of scrap styrene that I have here, and I will be using this Plastruct plastic weld. It works better with the ABS plastic. Anyhow, I'm just going to take a little dabby and put it on here like that, and then I will just take the Plastruct piece and put it on there and give it a second to stand up by itself. Okay. Alright. There we go. That's better. And I'll show you guys how to round these corners off here in a few minutes. But anyhow, for the door itself, it's just a piece of metal siding that I turned to the horizontal, and to me it makes a pretty good looking garage door. Anyhow, I'm going to let this guy dry up here, and then I'm going to flip him over and do this side. Also, I will be adding some of this 133 strip alongside the structure like this, and it will kind of finish off the edges. So anyhow, let me get this all glued together, and I'll show you how to make this round. So stay tuned, and we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, while I was waiting for this guy to dry up, I went ahead and put the tower together, as you can see, and it's standing tall and proud. Nice and square on all four sides. All I can say is, guys, the preparation for your builds is the most important part. Make sure your measurements are correct. Measure twice, cut once, measure 3 times, cut once, whatever it takes. Also, I'd like to show you that it's pretty square up here also. Okay, well that's enough for that guy. Anyhow, now, as we get onto this guy right here, how are we going to trim this? Alright, well, very simple process. We're going to take a pair of scissors, and we're just going to snip, 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 and we will do that on this side also. And once you get it down to a manageable size, what you're going to do next is take one of your emery boards and just shape it around. And it doesn't take much. This is very soft plastic. I'm using the for sale signs for this. Of course, the more you can cut off, the less sanding you got to do. And it'll take a couple of minutes to get it shaped down the way you want it, nice and semicircle. And once you get one side done, just go ahead and carry over to the other side. Kind of give it this motion as you're sanding it. Sorry for going off camera, guys. I'm trying to watch what I'm doing. I'm not watching the screen on my camera. But anyhow, and then just make sure you square on the bottom, and you'll be done with that part. Now, I also went ahead and I added my stripping along the sides here and here. So now it's just a matter of just go ahead and attach this to the top and let it dry, and you have a garage door done. Now what I'm using for this, again, is this plastic weld, and I'm going to do it from the outside. Try and get it as centered as you can. And I usually hold it and just go ahead and put your glue on there. And now I'll just let it dry up for a couple of minutes, and then we'll be able to move it. And that'll be the second door that I've got done. I have one more door to do, and since I already showed you this one, I don't need to show you the next one. Anyhow, they will get painted aluminum or bright silver. I'm not 100% sure what color I'm going to paint it, because whatever paint this gets, the rest of the doors will get also. Anyhow, stay tuned and we'll continue on with this build. Be back in a few. Alright guys, what you're looking at now is a freestanding HO model of Mariani sugar distributors. Anyhow, as you can see, we've got quite a bit accomplished in the last day or so. Give you a 360 spin here. Alright, so, yeah, by the way, when we get to the back side here, there'll be a couple of tanks sitting back here also, as in the prototype. There'll be a couple of air conditioning units right about here, and then the silos would be back here. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this part 2 of Jack's build. Jack, I hope you like it. I've been working on this continuously for, I don't know, 20, 25 hours or so. Anyhow, this base, because it's got a very glossy finish, is going to have to be sanded down before I can do anything to it. And it'll get painted a light gray, and I will also simulate the expansion joints that you would see in concrete slabs. Anyhow, again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, your questions, comments, inputs, subs, shares, and likes are always welcome. For now, that's all folks. BNSF 6951 out.